Okay, got the CiC Pro League Cycle 2 playoffs, third place match, game 1 between Imbaboy, sorry, not Imbaboy, yes, Imbaboy, the only person that's playing. It's Reason and Tree. And I swear sometimes I can talk, and I'm not going to have to do that as much this time because Fruit is here, which makes me happy.
Hello, everybody.
Yay! You don't have to just listen to me be stupid. Two of us can be stupid. So, we have both watched, I believe, the intro matches. If you haven't seen them yet, CiC destroyed Tree in about a 15-minute and a 20-minute victory, and BMG basically did the same thing to Reason. Took a little bit longer, about half an hour each time, but neither match was particularly close, as CiC and BMG are basically just that much better than everybody else right now, but Jesus Christ, we're moving through things quickly. Bans are Bubbles, Chronos, Swiftblade, and Puppet Master. So Chronos, Puppet Master on the Hellborn side, pretty typical, pretty obvious. Bubbles and Swiftblade getting banned out by Reason, largely because Swiftblade dumpstered them in the hands of BMG earlier, and Bubbles, very valuable hero. Anything there? Or should we just move on?
I don't have anything to add.
Okay. Rhapsody Torturer.
Magnus on Tree because we might get to see their fun jungle strat.
Yep. And Magnus or potentially even Engineer. We've seen both of those heroes run that fun jungle strat, as you put it. Although, in my experience, they typically run it as a Legion side, so very possible. Hellborn certainly could do it as well. I think they've done it as Hellborn too.
They did it as Hellborn in the game where they went crazy on Riftwalker.
Yes, you're right. Root of Z did play Riftwalker in the jungle there. So yeah, they definitely do it on Hellborn. It feels to me like they do it more on Legion, but I mean, yeah, they definitely do it on Hellborn too. Anyway, picks are out here. Rhapsody, Torturer, and Warbeast here, so the push potential for Reason is real. Rhapsody, Dance Floor plus Warbeast, Wolves plus Torturer, Impalement means towers are going to fall very, very quickly. Hellborn side has picked up Magnus, Engineer, and Dr. Repulsor, so going for more of a teamfight-oriented build with Eruption and Energy Field coming out, as well as long-range initiation and gank potential from Dr. Repulsor and Magnus. So both sides seems like they're gearing up for a specific strategy here as opposed to all-around strength.
Yeah, I think both teams could still kind of round out their lineups away from, especially because we don't know what Tree's planning to do with that Magnus, and maybe run as a jungler, maybe run as a short lane farmer, could technically be run as a suicide. That Magnus is extremely versatile for them.
Yeah, and we just saw them run earlier, a very strange strat kind of. Balthazar, the typical carry player, played the Madman Suicide, and they put Boxel, who is their typical suicide player, in the short lane with Fuz in their hard support as a dual lane, which where Boxel actually played that Magnus. So I wouldn't be extremely surprised to see that again. I don't think it's likely just because Dr. Repulsor doesn't really suicide in the way that Madman can, so I'm not thinking that's really going to happen. I'm expecting Magnus to be played by a Krake there in the middle lane with Engineer probably. But yeah, that doesn't even begin to take into account the fact that they could still run jungle. So lots of options, no doubt, here for the Hellborn side, and bans are out as well. Flux, Madman, and Glacius being taken out by the Legion side, so obviously Flux Engineer combination not available. Madman, a very popular pick for Tree, so it looks like Reason has done their homework there a little bit, and Glacius would fit their lineup pretty well, especially when it comes to the tri-lane aspect, and now that popular tri-lane support won't be available. Hellborn, meanwhile, are going to ban out Drunken Master, Gauntlet, and Pebbles, so mostly focusing on the Strength Initiator role here. Pebbles and Gauntlet, obviously, typical Portal Key users, Burst Initiation. Drunken Master, a little bit more carry potential, and a little more versatility in his laning ability, but no doubt the same type of Strength Initiation hero. I've got a stun, I'm going to do what I can, but the Devourer comes out. That's interesting.
Fun. Doesn't really match their pushing.
Yeah, and Berserker. Alright, so we're going to have game. I'm ready. This is an odd lineup to me for Legion side.
Those were some surprising last picks, and they just ran it down to the wire on their extra time, and then went with some surprises. Like, I wouldn't have expected to see Devour, Warbeast, and Berserker all in one game.
Yeah, it's part of that for me is I don't like it when you run that many melee farmers. They're going to sort of be tripping over each other when it comes to team fights. Warbeast obviously has the phase effect on his ultimate, so that'll help him, but it seems like Berserker and Devourer, there's a lot of potential for people to get in the way of hooks, for people to get in the way of the chain spike or something like that, and have some issues chasing people down, especially when you throw that Pharaoh into the mix. that mummy wall against all these melee heroes is going to become extremely disruptive. And the Midas too. So high mobility is the theme for this Hellborn side. Midas, Pharaoh, Dr. Repulsor, Magnus all have the ability to initiate from fairly long range and have some pretty solid getaways as well. So going to be difficult to catch and kill this Hellborn side. And I got to say, I'm liking Tree's lineup a little bit more here. I think they have that team fight. Their push isn't quite as strong, but they're just going to be impossible to catch.
Another thing, one bonus that does come with having those 3 huge bodies in Berserker, Devourer, and Warbeast up front is it will make it a little bit more difficult for Rhapsody's ult to be stopped. But looking at this team, they just have so many ways to bounce through into the back lanes, and even more to kite those players.
Exactly. I mean, I don't see the ability for Rhapsody, when you've got a Portal Key Lava Surge stun and a Dr. Repulsor ultimate and very, very possibly Boxel on that Pharaoh sitting back waiting for that Rap ult so he can cancel it. There's stuns out the ass, there's long range initiation everywhere, and I don't think Adro's going to have a very good game at all on this Rhapsody. But when it comes to the laning phase here, I really wouldn't be surprised to see a tri-lane. I think Rhapsody and Torture definitely have that potential, and with everybody heading top here, we might actually have a clash. Warbeast Wolf will scout out Magnus, and they're going to see the entire Hellborn side here. Or 4 heroes at least, as Boxel is in the bottom lane by himself. But nobody going to initiate. So what are you thinking here for the laning phase?
I'm really hoping we get to see the Magnus jungle, and it could work with either solo Balthazar mid or Balthazar top. No, that wouldn't really work. They'd have to do Balthazar mid if they're going to do the jungle strat, which I'd be excited to see.
No, I think they can do... They're going to do Engineer Doctor top, which is just fine in my opinion, and they're definitely going to jungle this Magnus. I mean, Midas in the middle lane, that's going to be really impossible to kill for the Legion side. How are they going to lock him down enough for the Elemental Warp not to go off?
Yeah, he's going to have to make big mistakes, and it looks like... Are they doing a Devourer Rhapsody mid together?
That appears to be the case, which isn't a bad lane at all, especially because Rap Stun can set up the hook from Dev.
Yeah, I mean, really the only way I see them killing Krake is if it's a fairly slow cast animation on the Elemental Warp,
right.
So it's possible that the staccato stuns, once they're level 2 or 3, can just kind of lock that down long enough for Devourer to do the rot damage and the auto attacks to possibly have a chance of getting a kill, but it'll probably take a misplay by Krake. So, but it's also not going to be easy for Midas to get any farm in that lane.
Nah, but I don't think they're counting on this too much. I think they're really focusing their efforts on Dr. Repulsor and, in a lot of ways, Magnus to provide a lot of initiation, late game potential. So that's definitely, I think, the big weakness of this Hellborn side is in the laning phase, they don't look particularly strong. They're probably going to lose this middle lane. They're pretty much certainly going to lose this bottom lane, especially when you see how hard Torture is zoning out Boxel on this Pharaoh. And they'll win top, but the question is that going to be enough? Is Dr. Repulsor going to be able to provide enough in the mid-game to be able to mitigate the fact that Midas and Pharaoh very well may not have much of an impact until, you know, maybe 10 or 15 minutes after the end of the laning phase, if at all. And at that point, really, how good is Midas? You know, how good is Midas at 30 minutes into the game? His magic damage is just not as good. There's the hook on him, and he's going to Elemental Warp away, should be just fine. So, and already the aggression coming out in middle lane, but Krake will survive.
A little bit surprisingly up top, Warbeast sent his wolves into the woods and then just kind of left them auto-attacking Magnus, who cleaned them up and just gave him an extra 2 kills to speed up his, what they know is a dangerous jungle even more.
Yeah, and that's something that we don't see talked about or hear talked about a lot, and I don't talk about it myself, but the extra gold you get from minion kills can sometimes be pretty substantial. You know, you take Ophelia or Tempest or Keeper of the Forest, heroes that spawn minions, and you think, that's 30 gold per minion or whatever for Tempest times 6. That's 360 gold. Or, that's 180 gold. I can math.
But it happens 2 or 3 times, and suddenly you're giving away 3-4 creep waves.
Or the equivalent of that, yeah. I mean, if that happens 5 or 6 times over the course of a game, that's 5,000 or 6,000 gold. Easy. So, whether or not that really plays enough of a role, I think the pushing potential still makes that a worthwhile trade than just never spawning minions or something like that, but it's something you have to consider, because when you pick a hero... Sorry.
I was just going to say, sure, it's great for the pushing. More, I'm surprised that he would send them into the jungle, then have them attack the Magnus, who's not going to be taking enough damage. You think he could have used them to try and mess up his farm, steal some last hits, deny that golden experience, rather than just give it away.
Right. And perhaps just some lack of micro here for Zane, that's possible. Obviously a very good suicide player, and I think underrated a lot in that role too. I don't think he gets enough attention for exactly how good he is, but at the same time, not really known for Warbeast. You know, Electrician, sure, Pharaoh, absolutely, but Zane and Warbeast is not really a combination I automatically put together in my mind. Obviously Keizu is the famous one there, and we'll see how Zane is able to do that. Midas in the mid lane, forced to back off as he's got no health and no mana. So, looking at GPM charts real fast here, Imboy on that bottom lane in Berserker having a grand old time, 370 GPM, almost 300 for Devour, 300 for, 315 even for Dr. Repulsor, and pause going out. Did either of us turn replay auto skip pause on?
I did not.
I totally did. So,
I will skip ahead to the point at which it ends.
Alright, and hopefully we can resync. But for now, let's just keep going. If you should...
I guess I do have auto skip pause on because nothing happened.
Oh.
I guess I consoled it on a long time ago. Rhapsody looking up in the jungle at Magnus, but probably can't do anything there other than slow down his farm.
Right. Rhapsody, a bit surprising in terms of how much damage she can output and how long she can live if somebody actually stays and fights her, especially the dance floor, but that's not enough. Bottom lane Pharaoh, going to take a whole bunch of impalement damage, but will be okay as the Hellfire is discouraging further aggression. But yeah, by herself, unless Magnus makes a really poor decision, it's really unlikely that she's going to be able to get a kill here. So, more so, I think, just screwing with the pull and providing some vision.
Yep, just being a pest. Giving Midas a chance to get a couple CS in mid there, help his game along. He's having trouble, only 12 CS compared to Devourer's 29, so losing that lane pretty hardly like we expected.
And he's actually going to rotate bottom, it looks like, as they're going to probably try to get a kill on Torturer here, who is quite low. And one Midas combo, yeah, they definitely see Tort here, so Torturer's in some trouble. This is going to be first blood, pretty much, as long as you can land it. Yep, there it is.
First to Davy Jones,
so Krake picks up the first kill onto Saint Rocks. That's going to help him out a lot. All of a sudden, he's at 240 GPM. That's a gold boost from about 180 or so where he was before. And we'll pick up a refreshment rune, probably wait 5 seconds for the 6-minute rune as well. So excellent timing there, really. Picking up a first blood, some rune efficiency. Not bad. And Elder Parasite is the first item for Berserker.
I'm not too surprised by that. It gives him a chance to go into the jungle a little bit sooner. He's probably not planning to leave from this lane anytime soon, so the move speed isn't a huge priority. He's got a level on Pharaoh, and I wouldn't be surprised if he hit 6 before Pharaoh hit 4. So he's really in no danger of dying other than ganks. I am surprised. I don't see any vision on the map for the Legion team. They have one Ward of Sight, but they put it in a tree such that it shows them practically nothing.
Now here, Mummy Wall's going to catch 2, and Pharaoh's going to be in a lot of trouble. Boxel definitely going to fall there. And meanwhile, in the middle lane, actually, Krake dying, as he was... I don't know, did you catch the mid-action? I got bottom.
I caught the last little bit of mid. It was illusions on Midas, couldn't do enough. Devourer ate him, and Rhapsody floor was just a ton of damage.
Right, level 6 Devourer obviously stops that elemental warp in its tracks, and Midas without his escape mechanism, just not all that tanky here, 815 health, but with the hook and the rot and the ult, way too much damage. So 2 kills now for the Legion side, as they managed to pick up a couple in quick succession in the lanes they were already winning, and so far this game actually relatively even, which I would say favors the Hellborn side, to be honest. It seems like this is the laning phase that they should not be winning, and they've got a Dr. Repulsor, they've got all this long range, they've got, I think, better team fight than the Legion do, so this feels like it's going to bode well for Tree.
It does for now. If the Legion side start grouping up and pushing, they have a lot of pushing potential between the Impalement, the Wolves, and actually Berserker does a lot of damage to towers if you watch him. He just is a hard-hitting hero. So they could turn this, get a bit of gold going their way, and it's certainly nice to be in. I don't think either team is really losing right now in any way. I think the score reflects how even it is, and it just depends on if Legion gets themselves together. And it looks like Hellborn might actually be going for a push on top.
Top tower is definitely dead here.
The Hellborn have destroyed a Legion tower.
Clearly done their work whittling that down, and now will reap the reward. Balthazar picking up the last hit, and he's at 400 GPM. And that's not something that you want to see. 400 GPM Doctor at 8.5 minutes.
Yeah, that's terrifying. I wish we knew what he was getting.
I agree. Stupid bug. Mummy Wall's actually in the bottom, as Crack is going to come in here as well with the transmute. Dr. Berserker is going to not live. Rocket is able to finish him off. And it looks like we will see the runaway from St. Rox there on Torturer. He will be just fine. Engineer also rotating to the bottom lane, so pretty awesome kill there. And actually, did you see what Fusion just did?
I did not catch it.
He used the turret to stack the Ancients, because...
very cute.
Yeah, I thought that was funny.
And although Pharaoh did die bot lane, he did prevent, what is that, any damage at all from going onto the tower? Yes, it was not hit once.
Yeah.
So...
And he's not doing too bad either. 245 GPM, same as Cracky in that middle lane, so both of them at 1, 1, and 1, and in fact, almost exactly the same farm. 25 CS for Pharaoh, 20 for Midas. Obviously, the Bloodlust for Midas is probably the makes the difference there, but... Anyway, the thing I was mentioning before is, I agree with you that I think that things are relatively even, although that recent engagement and the tower kill has now pushed the lead into Willowkeeper's favor. I think the only reason that I would say they are even more ahead than the stats say right now is they shouldn't have won the laning phase by any means. I mean, they shouldn't have a gold lead or an experience lead, really, because of how badly they should have lost middle and bottom. And the fact that they were even in both resources, and yeah, I mean, Magnus was in the woods, but still, feels like they should have been punished more than they were. So, coming out of the laning phase, you also got to consider that it seems like this Legion side is, well, I guess they're pretty late game oriented too. They're not that mid game focused. Berserker and Warby still help. Triple Ancients being taken by the Hellborn.
The Legion have destroyed a Hellborn tower.
And mid tower falls as well. So,
and I think that's what they need to do, is group up, get some of those towers, get map control so that they can utilize some of their... Actually, they're not a super strong ganking team, and Hellborn is an incredibly difficult team to gank.
Yeah, despite the presence of that Devourer, they just don't have burst damage at all. And especially not the way that the Hellborn came with Midas and Magnus, really. So, no doubt an atypical game here with these picks, and it looks like Willowkeeper is taking a bit of an advantage so far. Dr. Repulsor going to farm out the woods a little bit. But
they also don't have any great initiation on this Legion side.
Oh, Portal Key on Dev, that'll help.
Yeah. Does he have one?
Yeah, he just picked it up. So, I agree with you. I think that's perhaps not the biggest worry, just because their counter initiation is also really good, and maybe they don't even care. Maybe they don't want to fight. I mean, I think Legion's strategy might just be, let's take this to an hour, and let Warbeast get crazy farmed, let Berserker get crazy farmed, and what are they going to do about it? Dr. Repulsor is going to be annoying, but that's pretty much the only major threat. Meanwhile, off the side, actually, we're going to see a catch on Pharaoh, as Devour uses the Portal Key, but now there's a counter initiation. Mummy got as well. Midas is going to be there to drop the transmute, still going to get the kill onto Pharaoh, and we'll see if they can actually counter onto Dev here. He is really tanky, and it looks like Probusk will be able to survive, so nice catch, actually. Despite the presence of Magnus, could not get that counter kill.
I think if Midas had been a little bit closer when it started, they would have been at least had a chance. But as it was, Pharaoh was just too hurt by the time Krake got in there.
And very possible. But you also got to look at Lion's Pride. The healing move is only level 1, so perhaps if that is level 2 or even level 3, that heals Pharaoh for just enough to keep him alive for a couple more seconds and get a couple more auto attacks off that results in the dev kill. I don't think there was any real chance Pharaoh was going to live through that, but the counter kill possibility was definitely there, and just not quite able to grab it. But Fusen also continues to stack these Ancients. They are doubled once again. So they're really trying to maximize their resources here. Top lane, meanwhile, Magnus did get jumped, but he will just port out and grabs a portal key of his own. So Root of Z here at 270 GPM has that 13-minute PK, not a bad time at all. And we're seeing rotation from Devourer too. Up so top lane, he was in bottom, he was in middle. And what you're saying earlier, I think you're right. They need to group up and push. I mean, their push even right now is extremely strong. Take some towers, get a gold lead, start to force the other team into a corner, and
it looked like they were thinking about it up top. They had 3 heroes up there and then just backed off. They haven't seen Balthasar. That's probably the first glimpse they've had from him in 3 or 4 minutes. He's just been in the jungle, keeping his GPM up. He's dropped off a little bit in the past 2 minutes, but still at 400, still very dangerous.
No doubt. And it looks like triple stacked Ancients will be killed once again by the combination of Midas, Magnus, and Engineer. Warbeast will scout them out. Have you noticed that this Midas ult yells cha-ching when it auto-attacks?
I have not.
It's pretty funny. He had illusions there, so it was just continuous cha-ching. Apparently he likes money.
Alright, Legion grouped up, but in the middle where they don't.
Actually, Devour gonna jump over here onto Voxel once again, but drawing 2 ports. Chain Spike goes down. Mummy Walls will catch 2. Easy kill there on Voxel, but the return is strong. Midas is here. Nice ultimate from Rhapsody. That'll stop all damage. Krake also gonna fall. Will be stopped by Voxel on that, or Rita's, excuse me, on that Magnus right there. They'll get a counter kill on Devour. We'll see if they can pick anything else off. Rhapsody gonna be in a lot of trouble here. Lava Surge up in 2 seconds. Staccato Suns will go down on Magnus though. Still will have the range to finish off Adriel, and that ends up being a 2 for 2 in favor of the Legion side, I think, just because they picked up more valuable heroes, but that will also stop the push. And 15 minutes in, we've seen the Legion side take precisely 1 tower.
And they may be losing a tower of their own on bottom.
I've seen this.
Needs to be somewhat cautious because he has no mana.
And I've seen this issue. I can't even keep track now of how many times I've said, man, this team has such a good team fight, they're such a good pushing team, and they keep getting caught out, they're not grouping up, they're not pushing, why aren't they pushing? It's just, it's so weird. St. Rock's here actually perhaps going to get caught by 2, but we've got Dev off to the side, and he's going to drop in ultimate onto Root of Z here on that Magnus. Has a Lava Surge, will be able to get up the cliff, and he should be just fine. Hook there, not going to connect, actually hits an Ancient. And that will be the end of that, so up
He was
top,
probably excited when he saw the blood explosion and then wound up with
2 ports going to be dropped here, trying to get this War Beast, and actually will hook in onto the Wolf though, and the Mummy Wall is not very effective as a result. So Zane on the War Beast, activating the ult and getting away. No huge surprise there. War Beast is kind of mobile. Top tower will also be denied here by Krake. So that is the 2nd tower kill here for the Legion side, sort of not intentionally, but now bottom also going to get pushed in, that'll be the 3rd tower, so
The Legion have destroyed a Hellborn tower.
they're finally listening to it a
and
little
there
bit.
you see how incredibly fast. It was low, but they didn't have to be there for more than a couple seconds, and it looks like 8 or 9 seconds of that would be taking down towers. But they do have all the outer towers down.
Not only that,
making a bit of room for themselves.
It was only 2 heroes there. It was just Torturer and Berserker. So, can you imagine what would happen if they added Warbeast and Rhapsody to that mix? It wouldn't have to be low. They could stay there for 2 seconds. They could take a tower from full to nothing. But yes.
It'd be nice to see if Warbeast was going for the book. Take the towers even faster. Pharaoh and Berserker fighting. Pharaoh might be in a bit of trouble here.
He dies. I might be a little bit ahead of you. I'm at 17, 58, 59, 18.
I'm about 4 seconds back.
If you hit the skip forward thing, that'll
I'm
give you...
8, 9, 10...
Right. You're about a second ahead of me, or then, which is not a big deal. Anyway, I missed that action, so what happened?
Pharaoh looked... Actually, I don't know what he was doing. Just into the entrance to Legion Jungle, got picked off by Berserker and Rhapsody, and put a wall up with Berserker, and the last thing you want is a Berserker hitting you right in the face.
No doubt. Arcana picked up by Dr. Repulsor there. I assume that's going to be a Hellflower. I guess it could be a Harkon, yeah. That's the only other...
I would like to see Harkons as a first item, just because even though it's a low mana cost, it adds up early on, and if you don't have... Like, that's Repulsor's biggest weakness until the very late game, is that he runs out quickly, so I'd definitely rather see the Hellflower. It would be a nice, reliable way to stop the Devourer ult, and also the Rhapsody ult, so...
And you have to consider, with all the magic damage here on the Hellborn side, having a Barrier Idol or Mystic Vestments on every hero is pretty much a necessity, as mid-tower drops with the entire Hellborn side there. Zane gonna get jumped on here by Balthazar on that Dr. Repulsor, but just enough to pop the ult and make him run away. That'll be the end of that engagement. But yeah, Harkons early on would be interesting. I don't like it more because the Eruption, the Midas, even the Engineer ultimate a little bit. I would be shocked.
Have the damage.
Yeah, I'd be shocked if they weren't going for heavy vestments and Shaman's Headdress and Barrier Idols. So I think just the Harkons adding more magic damage, pretty much entirely unnecessary. Because if you look, I mean, the Hellborn don't have too many sources of physical damage. It's pretty much magical. It's mostly just
right clicks. They really
clicks.
just have Pharaoh a little bit.
I mean, their right-click potential isn't going to be that high, especially when you look at the Legion side and you're like, well, Warbeast and Berserker, they hit pretty hard.
Aghanim's just finished on someone on the Legion team. I didn't catch who.
Must be Berserker. Probably. Must be Berserker.
Maybe? Yeah, because Devourer has 1,400 gold.
And also because Staff does actually boost it. Deals an additional 0.75x of your strength and magic damage per second. Heals self for 100% of the damage dealt. I didn't even know he had a Staff effect.
I'm pretty sure it's brand new.
Might be. But Berserker's is ridiculous.
And Balthazar simply farming top lane has gotten this tower. He might kill it. He won't kill it, but yeah, that's been him alone just pushing, farming that lane, and they're reacting so slowly to get there that he's managed to chip that tower down to just above deny range.
And forced a glyph, which means bottom tower might actually be open. We've got 3 heroes in the bottom lane now that looks like they're going to be trying to push that, and without a glyph, this is going to be a tower death, I think, on this tier 1 on bottom. Anyway, the Berserker staff effect removes debuffs and stuns from self, can be used while stunned or silenced. That's going to be really, really helpful against all the stuns and silences that are coming out from the Hellborn team, especially considering the debuff duration decrease.
The Hellborn have destroyed
He's just going to run through this team. Like, he's not going to be able to be stopped.
They don't have any even remotely long stuns on their team.
Yeah.
There's nothing that's going to keep him stunned for more than a second anymore.
So Balthazar putting this tower in deny range, now getting caught out a little bit by 3 heroes, but obviously has the ludicrous speed, will be able to get away. This bottom tower will be denied very easily by Rhapsody.
Yeah, he's going to get the torch.
Yep.
Got a little aggressive, dodged the stun, and dropped very quickly.
I'm not really sure what St. Rox was doing all the way up there. I mean, you got to know, like, Warbeast is not going to stun that guy. He's not going to really be able to help you out too much, and Rhapsody's way back at the tower denying. So
yeah, he chased for a while, missed his stun, and then had no chance of getting away after that.
Meanwhile, Engineer
getting jumped on by Berserker. Will they be able to get the return? It looks like they might. Yeah,
they with the coming in from Midas, who also is a portal key.
Does
he does. And he's actually not very easy to take down either. Considering how many heroes they had wrecking him, Hellflower is the one
And
pick up.
through all that fight, nobody picked up the DD. If Berserker had managed to grab it, he may have taken out the...
Yeah. Especially with the Elder Parasite on, that lifesteal.
Condor attempt from the Hellborn.
So, Doctor did finish the Hellflower, I don't know if you saw that. So our Harkon's suggestion was rightly not taken, because that would not have been a great decision, I don't think. But this will be a pretty easy Kongor.
Kongor has been slain.
And Dr. Repulsor will grab the token. Obviously, the best token hero? What do you think?
Probably yes. Getting him full mana again is just terrifying.
Yep.
I'm trying to think of anybody else who might debatably be as strong, and I can't do it.
Doctor gonna catch Torture here, and Saint Rock's just wrecked. He took like 3 auto attacks before he died. And we'll also clean up the farm here. Get the aggressive ward as well here from Fusen, and right in the middle of the jungle there, and one off to the side as well. So they've got 2 wards in the Legion jungle right now, and clearly looking to be aggressive, and again, not a surprise considering their lineup. You'd think that they'd be looking for picks as often as they could. They do want to get aggressive.
What do you think the Legion can do to come back right now? They don't really have the team fight potential. They don't have a really strong way to push anymore, because with Midas especially, the creep clearing potential of this Legion team, or Hellborn team, is really strong. It's going to be hard for them to push, and they're now dealing with a 550 GPM Repulsor who's 3 levels higher than anyone on their team. If they can lock him down with Devourer, but
perhaps not for long enough. Up top, Midas could be in some trouble here, as we see the Elder Parasite get activated. He's got a portal key, I think.
He's dead.
Yeah, he's in trouble. But Balthazar are going to come in here, looking for a jump onto that Berserker. We'll get a 2-man Lava Surge as well. Nice ultimate from Rhapsody. Will not be stopped, saving a ton of damage. Finally, the pushbook goes off. Ultimate from Magmus. Eruption kills all sorts of stuff. Adro, first one to fall. Off to the side here. Torturer will try to pour it out, and he's not. He is going to be able to do so. Holy crap.
It looked like Repulsor had the last attack and canceled it.
Nonetheless, Imboy and Zane both fall. Ends up being a 3-for-1. Definitely a fight that the Hellborn side will take every day of the week. And that's the thing that they don't need to do, I think. They've got the late game here. If they can get Berserker and Warbeast reasonably farmed, it's going to get to the point where, even though Doctor's really, really powerful, they're just not going to be able to do anything to stop the push, because what they should do, I think, is farm everybody up and then split push. They don't want to take 5-on-5 engagements with the ultimates that the Hellborn are carrying, but they don't also need to be together to push effectively. They have so many pushing heroes. So what they want to do is say, okay, let's take middle and bottom or something like that, and we'll play it slow. If they come up, we'll back off a little bit, but they're not going to be able to do stuff. Meanwhile, St. Rock's up top will get dropped. So anyway, you're objecting?
I think that they do need to worry, because they're down on towers. They're probably about to lose this middle tower. It's going to be hard for them to mount a defense without all 5 of their people. If they start split pushing, they have the Repulsor coming in behind, and he can do
Chain Spike there on Repulsor. Oh. No, he's going to get the opposite charges. Will use the token there. And he'll be just fine, so.
And if you see, if he goes face to face with Berserker, he's barely hurting the Berserker right now.
He does nothing, and Berserker just eats him. So that's basically what I'm thinking.
I'm surprised he used the token there. They had a better chance for it. I guess he was...
I mean, it's only on 5 minutes now, so it's probably relatively close to expiration anyway.
If only there was some way for us to know.
Right. I think that, I don't know, I just don't think the Repulsor is doing that much damage right now, and if you put, say, Berserker and Torturer together, and then Devourer, Rhapsody, and Warbeast together, you really think Doctor can go toe-to-toe with Warbeast with Rhapsody backup? I kind of doubt it.
I don't think he needs to. I think he can just go in behind and chip at the towers and go right back home with a portal, and kind of push whatever lane is being pushed against them.
But he's not going to push as effectively as the Legion side is, so if it comes down to a split push and Doctor's trying to counter push, he's not going to win that fight. Meanwhile, middle lane, yep, he's in a lot of trouble here. Nice lockdown there. And all of a sudden, that's a problem. He does have buyback, and he might need to use it. He's dead for 75 more seconds, and they need him. Okay, why are they so timid?
Yeah, I don't know why.
Like, this is...
That's most of the damage. I don't know if they have...
There we go. Alright, they're finally showing up.
Have you seen a Shaman's Headdress or anything come out on any of these heroes? Because really the only damage that they have left on the Hellborn team without Balthazar alive is the Magnus ult.
And why are you going top? Go middle. You just killed that tier 2 tower. You could take the tier 3 really easily. That's way more valuable than the top tier 2.
I think they are aware of Balthazar's buyback and they're trying to... I don't know, you think they would want to force the buyback though?
Yeah. And they have a DD on Berserker.
That is terrifying.
I don't know why you wouldn't take the tier 3 there. Because either Balthazar buys back with 20-25 seconds left on his res, which is a pretty serious use of gold, and then they just back, or they get a tier 3 for free, and maybe even Rex.
They can't really back. If the Repulsor buys back, he's in the fight instantly, faster than probably any other hero.
Yeah.
So they can't really back. Like, if he buys back, the fight happens.
Well, between the Devour Portal Key and the Warbeast Ultimate, I think at least both of them survive. Maybe Berserker dies. Not sure.
Rhapsody and Saint Rox also definitely die.
I think they probably do, but the risk reward is there for me. Forcing a 1 of 2 buybacks at Balthazar, meanwhile bottom lane, jump onto Devourer here, 4 heroes are here, he's in a lot of trouble, drops a Shrunken Head, but that's not going to be nearly enough because they're like, we can right click you, dude. And that's going to be a bottom tier 2.
Does have the buyback, right?
He does, yes. But he also uses Shrunken, so...
The Hellborn have destroyed a Legion tower.
Shrunken also picked up on Warbeast. And that's going to be difficult for this for the Hellborn side. The multiple Shrunken Heads getting picked up here is going to negate a lot of their damage. Meanwhile, in the background, oh god, Saint Rox gets destroyed, but Berserkers start going to go crazy, and he's just destroying Magnus right there. And Fusion's next on the list. We'll see if they can do anything else. They're backing the hell out here. Meantime, Dr. Repulsor is
doing a ton to Devourer.
But nope, that's a death, and that's worth it. So they'll kill he'll kill Devourer, and Devourer did use a buyback, but he's definitely fine with that. Crack Eye also used a buyback at some point too. I totally missed that. So I think good fight there from the Legion side.
Yeah, they defended their tower, killed the important Repulsor, and at this point, this is where Midas really starts to taper off.
Yeah.
He's still good at clearing waves, but his nukes are just underwhelming at this point.
Yeah, especially considering half this team on the Legion have Shrunken Heads. So in the middle of a team fight, he does pretty much nothing.
And Repulsor went into the back and granted destroyed Rhapsody and Torturer and even Devourer, but it meant that they had nothing there to deal with the insane power of Berserker and Warbeast, who were just moving so fast, hitting so hard.
Yeah, I mean, picking off the supports is nice. The question is, how much is it actually doing for you?
I think picking off the Rhapsody is very important. I think it's a waste of time to go on the Torture. I think at this point you just stay away, avoid the impalement. The chains and the stun aren't that strong. And
to be fair, I mean, they did just blow up the Saint Rox there. Like, he didn't really take a lot of their attention for a significant period of time. Sheepstick on Doctor.
I like that a lot.
I don't.
Because of Blue's ult, it's a little bit weaker, but it gives him at least a second, and then another second with the stun. I don't hate it.
It's you gain 80% debuff reduction. So, what's a sheepstick?
It's 80%? I thought it was 50. Yeah,
it's
sheep
80%.
Is 2.5, so it's down to like 0.3 seconds, something like that.
Right, and he can activate it.
Here.
Yeah, they will.
And he does not have buyback, so they have a chance to push
and now Devourer also gonna fall. Oh god, awful mummy walls there from Boxel. Oh, that's totally saved that Devour. They had him. But yes, they need to push.
Push stick finished on Torturer, so they can save somebody from those walls now.
So I get why they picked up the sheep stick there, yeah, on Doctor, but with the 2 shrunken heads and the ultimate from Berserker, not a fan.
What would you have gone for?
Right click, honestly, like Savage Mace or something like that. They just need damage. I mean, they're not going to kill this Doctor, really. It's a little difficult. Unless they have multiple lockdown. They need the Chain Spike and the Devourer ultimate, and possibly even the Warbeast beating on him to be able to do that.
I think if they catch him alone, if Berserker and Devourer kill him easily, the Devourer ult is more than enough time for Berserker to drop him. He is not tanky at all. He only has 1,200 life, 1,300 life.
He's actually got more than that because it's deceptive. It says out of 1366, but see how it's going higher?
Ah, yes.
So, until he's full health, we don't actually know how powerful he is, but you're probably right that if Dev and Berserker catch him out, meanwhile, this Convoy is going to get interrupted. It is going to be killed. The question is, are they going to do it? Yep. St. Rob's here in the middle line, actually wraps the ultimate in the background, doing not too much as Torture does die.
Too far out to be valuable.
Adra will also fall. Eruption going off in the background on a couple, and Repulsor is... Yep, there goes the token for him. Steam Bath on Magnus, and it looks like the Legion side is going to back the hell on out of there. Ends up being a 2-for-1, but they only lost clues on the Hellborn side, both from Sports side of Legion, and now Berserker.
Berserker's going to die here.
Yep. And Magnus there will also fall.
Warbeast, his ult is over. He could be in trouble too. Repulsor's a little low on that. Yeah, he's done.
No, he's dead.
And this should be a bottom Rex.
Double tap.
I'm not sure. I don't think they can get there in time. We've got both supports back up in 5 minutes, or 5 seconds, excuse me. And Krake's all the way back in base. He's hitting bottom now. I'm not sure if they have the pushing potential to do this, and I don't think they're going to. But Puzzle Box.
Ooh, Puzzle Box just picked up on the Pharaoh.
So that'll be pretty awesome. And really, it's Tree have a pretty substantial lead actually here in resources. 11.5k gold, 15k experience. But it doesn't really feel like that. You look at Berserker's farm, and
it's mostly just this Repulsor.
Right.
No one else on the team is doing particularly well. They've got 300 GPM on Magnus, 350 on the Midas, but those two just in fights they don't have a huge impact.
Right.
Magnus can, but his stun isn't lasting long enough on the Berserker, and the Berserker, as soon as he's in,
second sheepstick. Second sheepstick on Midas now. I really don't like that. I really don't like that decision. It's just, where's their damage? It feels like Berserker eats debuffs. He does not care about that sheepstick. You can see CC him to hell, and you've got enough stuns that you really don't need this many sheepsticks. It seems like it's a really inefficient use because that's what he debuffs so hard. If you get right click...
I mean, unless their plan is to repeatedly hit him with third of a second stuns until it adds up to 2.5 seconds.
Right. But then you're still only getting 80% of the value of a sheepstick instead of 100% of the value of a Savage Mace. So, whatever. Top lane, meanwhile, they will catch
Savage Mace on Midas is
Warbeast, and that's going to be a death.
Serial killer.
So, yeah, that's true. Savage on Midas is pretty much useless, but Demonic Breastplate, I don't know, Frostfield Plate, something like that, a little bit more team fight oriented, team push oriented. And that's something that we should be mentioning more often, is the fact that their jump potential is so good. They can catch Warbeast and Devour out before they even get their Shrunkens off, and in that situation the Sheepstick is very valuable, of course, especially for Warbeast.
They've got the Legion hemmed in here. Do you think that they can go for a straight uphill push right now, or do they have to wait to get a gank?
No, I think they can go for it.
25 seconds without the Warbeast.
And Warbeast does have a buyback.
But he doesn't want to do that with 20 seconds left. I'm sure they'd rather just posture and hold.
And all their ults are up too. NG Field, Eruption, Pharaoh Ultimate, they're all good. So they have no problem pushing this in. And they've got Token on Repulsor too, for that matter. No, wait, that...
He lost it
Yeah,
already.
he did lose it, excuse me. It's hard to tell sometimes without seeing what their items are.
See the items, yes.
It introduces a challenge there, Storm Spirit on Magnus.
Storm Spirit picked up on Magnus. I actually like that a lot. It gives them
Yeah.
a way to completely save the Repulsor if he gets jumped on by the dev.
Yeah. And honestly, that might be a more efficient use of gold for the Berserker too, because you just debuff him, you keep him in one place long enough for his ult to wear off. I mean, that seems like a decent enough way of dealing with him if you're trying to lock him down for an extended period of time. Meanwhile, over here, NG will drop the energy field actually and port out. So, a bit interesting.
How long is this total Carnage?
How long is what?
The Berserker ult.
Oh. 12
seconds. There's no way they can lock him down for
Nope,
that long.
they definitely can't, especially on a 30-second cooldown.
It's up fully half the time.
It still seems like might be a little more efficient there. Mummy Walls and Sheepstick are down. Devourer is there, but Pharaoh kind of in no man's land. Excellent push book though, and he will be okay. That was pretty much the perfect way to go, and the perfect time up top.
Meanwhile,
Yeah,
Repulsor are probably going to get racks.
I think so because they keep chasing this, and Devourer has a shrunken head up. Berserker's still here. They must not have ports, and this actually, Zane will die up top. I'm not even doing this anymore. Shrunken Head, sorry, Rhapsody Ultimate is there.
Wasted ultimate from Rhapsody
Yep.
to save.
We'll see if Saint
I don't
Rocks,
understand the point of that.
and then Saint Rocks dies anyway. CiC. So I think what happened there was they got cut out without ports. Imboy and Probus did not have teleports, and therefore we're not able to come back. So game 1 goes to Tree in pretty solid performance for them, I think.
Yeah, Balthazar absolutely dominated that game from really start to finish.
A Legion barracks has been destroyed.
Apparently Breaky's favorite hero, Berserker, isn't quite as powerful as we all thought. I believe he was 3-0 before this game in CiC, so gonna take his first loss, and hopefully we'll see him next game and maybe redeem himself, or maybe something else that's really interesting and crazy. But anyway, that'll do it for this game, and Tree will take it 1-0, and that will move us on to game 2.